Your early odds to win the 150th Open Championship, and it is Rory McIlroy leading the way on the early line at plus 900. Xander Schauffele, who just won the Scottish Open, coming off a win at the Travelers, is at 1,400, plus with Jon Rahm. It's worth noting that Schauffele was 1,800 at the start of the Scottish Open. Masters champ Scottie Scheffler and Jordan Spieth are 16-1 as we begin Open Week in Scotland. We welcome in the host of the First Cut podcast, Rick Gehman, who I should note picked Xander Schauffele on Wednesday last week to win the Scottish Open, so congrats on that. Let's talk a little British Open now. Rick, Tiger Woods listed at plus 6,000 or 60-1 for his time at the Old Course. What are some reasonable expectations, though, for Tiger this week?
Yeah, that's a really great question because expectations are usually not reasonable when you talk about Tiger Woods, the greatest to ever do it. However, I think we have to be a bit more bullish about his chances at St. Andrews than any other major championship that we've seen him play in this year. Not only is it, a few months later than the time that he played at Augusta National, but St. Andrews is the perfect golf course for him. It's generally very, very flat. It's going to be an easy walk. In fact, we are not even to the meat of the week yet, and Tiger has already played nearly 50 practice holes around St. Andrews in the last couple of days, which tells me a few things. It tells me that he is comfortable walking a lot of holes on this golf course. It's not a grueling walk at all, and he is ready to leave it all out there. He knows that he has 9 months to rest and recuperate between this Open Championship and potentially the next time we see him in a really competitive event, next year's Masters. So I think you have to be quite bullish about the way that this sets up. Tiger's body likely holding up at this point in the week. It's such a creative golf course, and Tiger, one of the most creative golfers to ever do it. I think we're expecting his best major championship finish of the year.
Well, Rick, I think you're bullish on Tiger. You're already wearing the Tiger colors, and it's Monday, going with red. But Rory McIlroy is the guy who's the betting favorite to win the tournament as the week begins. Why do you think so?
Yeah, it's so well-deserved. Rory McIlroy, unfortunately, we only grade him on wins and we only grade him on major championship wins, but he's got 3 top 10s in major championships already this year. So he's been on the first page of the leaderboard every single time. And his driver is a weapon, especially around St. Andrews. Remember, this is a relatively short course. Depending on the wind and the direction of that wind, there's probably 3 or 4 holes that are going to be drivable. And we're talking about par 4s here. And Rory McIlroy is going to be able to get close to a lot of these greens. The concern for Rory is what he does on that second shot, because St. Andrews is going to leave you with a lot of really awkward kind of 60 to 80-yard shots, which you don't always practice, and they're more about feel than they are about technical side of the swing. So if Rory can dial in those wedges, if he can put himself in a position to come in from the right angle, get enough spin, get access to these pin locations, I suspect that Rory McIlroy could be in store for another great week.
We're in Scotland this week, and we saw some really true links golf at the Scottish Open. Disaster, or at least a hiccup, could come on most any hole or most any shot. More of the same expected on the Old Course. How do you expect it to be set up?
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned this, Russ. Link style golf is so different than what we see nearly every week here in America. American style golf is played in the air. You try to carry bunkers, you try to carry hazards, and then just hit it to a specific number and let it come in and stop very, very quickly. Link style golf is played on the ground, and what we're already seeing from St. Andrews early in the week is it's already baked out. It's already crusty. It's already firm and fast. So you're going to have golfers not only trying to figure out what number to fly it in the air, but what is it going to do when it hits the ground. If I hit a draw, it's going to kick left and continue to roll out. If I hit a cut, maybe it's going to stop quicker than if I hit a draw. I mean, there's just so many things that these golfers do not have control of when their ball hits the ground. It is going to be a thinking man's championship, one that will introduce a lot of luck and a lot of variables and just a lot of creativity, especially around these massive greens at St. Andrews.
All right, one of the after effects of having some success is now you have to deal with expectations. You got the Xander Schauffele pick right on Wednesday last week. Time to up the ante. It's a Monday. Who's winning the Open Championship?
I still believe it to be Jordan Spieth. And if you would have asked me in January, I would have thought all 4 major championship venues were great for Jordan. He has disappointed in the first 3. He limped to the finish line last week at the Scottish Open, made a couple of ugly, big numbers, and still finished inside the top 10. He gained strokes across the board last week in all 4 major categories. And when you talk about creativity, you talk about the ability to hit a bunch of different shots that you have to think through. That is right up the alley of Jordan Spieth. It's why he's been so great at Open Championships in his career. It's just a style of golf that really lends itself to his game. So I worry about the short putts, which is something that has troubled him over the last couple of months. But the way that we expect St. Andrews to play is probably perfectly suited for Jordan at this point.
All right, that's some pretty good stuff right there. Rick Gehman, we appreciate that. And we saw the odds to win at the start of the segment. Who's your value pick then to win the Open this week?
Yeah, I'm quite enamored with Max Homa. He is just such a statistical darling. I mean, the last 6 months, he's been phenomenal. He's been one of the better ball strikers that we have on the PGA Tour, and he has really plugged the biggest leak in his game, which was around the green. It was his short game stuff. His first 10 events of 2022, he lost strokes around the green 7 times. Well, now he's plugged that leak. He's gained strokes around the green in his last 4. He's putting well again, and now there are no flaws in his game. And I really do like the way that Max Homa is just going to put his head down and grind this thing out, whether it's a birdie fest or whether the wind comes in and we get really difficult conditions. I think Max Homa has a lot of different paths to the top of the leaderboard this week.
All right, Rick Gehman, thank you so much. And for much, much more on the world of golf, we got to check out your podcast. It's the First Cut Podcast with Rick Gehman and Kyle Porter. Kyle actually is in Scotland this week, so make sure you check out the First Cut Podcast wherever you get your podcast.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.